Hi, Amy, and welcome to the Talking Allergies podcast. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks, Grace. It's nice to be here.
Amy, can you tell me a little bit about your allergies story with your daughters?
Yeah, sure. So each of them have a different kind of story. As we know, no two allergy journeys are the same, and theirs are definitely different. So my eldest was about 18 months, and before that she'd been getting little rashes, nothing too serious, and she'd been eating nuts and eggs okay, and then just this one day she stole some of my mum's peanut butter toast and she swelled up pretty much instantly, started coughing. She didn't have the words at the time to tell me what was wrong, and I'd never seen anything like that before, so I raced down to the chemist, not knowing, and he's like, "Not my department, you need to go and see a doctor." The doctor got her straight in straight away. They injected her with the adrenaline, and then we went to hospital, and where I learnt that she'd had an anaphylactic reaction, and that's where we started with Billy. And so Billy has reactions to peanuts, most of the tree nuts, eggs, and we just discovered mung beans recently, so that's new for her. And for her little sister Matilda was eating eggs completely fine until she was about 4.5. She started to get really big swelling on her eyes if she had certain egg products. I think the first one she had was a 𝘥𝘭𝘭𝘦𝘆 at a party, and I was like, "She's my safe kid, it's fine." And then that happened, and I was like, "No, something's not right." So we went and got her checked out, and they said she's got a very small allergy to eggs. And we went on the egg ladder. Everything was okay until she got to pancakes, and it must have not been cooked through properly, but there was a raw element to it perhaps. And then she, about an hour after she ate that, she stopped breathing. And she needed 2 EpiPens as the ambulance came, and that started her allergy journey. So for her, it's only the eggs. Yeah, so there we go.
It's such a vast difference between not knowing about allergies and then having anaphylaxis straight away and going to a chemist, and then with your other daughter having allergies, having a small allergy, or they call it a smaller allergy, and then going into anaphylaxis. That's such a big abrupt start to an allergy journey.
Yeah, it was a big learning curve for me. I'd never been exposed to allergies before, so yeah, it was confronting, and I had it in my head that it was okay. My youngest was all right, she was half before she had her first reaction. Her sister was only 18 months, and I'm like, no, she's all good. But allergies just present really differently depending on who you are, not what family you come from or anything like that. It's just, that's what I guess I realised the most is, yeah, they're both on 2 different unique journeys.
How do you manage the day-to-day life? Obviously, as soon as you found out about the allergies through to today, has it evolved and changed?
It really has. So with Billy, because she was non-verbal to start with, just a few words, I kind of thought I had a bit of issues with trust, I think, and had a few issues that came up, experiences, so I didn't feel comfortable sending her to daycare, and I was lucky that I had a work from home opportunity, so I kind of kept her at home until she would go to my parents sometimes, just to navigate some of the bigger work things. So I had great support from my parents and also my partner's parents, just here and there. But even then I knew how much anxiety I'd put on my mum especially. It was a lot. And then I realised how much anxiety I had. So I actually stopped working as much as I was, and found myself dealing with my own anxiety. And I think that spread to how I actually managed it a lot. So I looked at what was in my control. What was in my control was I could teach my children things, I could prepare their own food, and I could be there as much as I could to help them navigate. So I guess that part, as they've got older, I've helped them learn how to self-advocate, how to assess their own risks. So, I can't be there all the time. but they've known from a very young age that whatever we've packed for them is safe food. At the start, I was like, no other food, just your safe food. Now they've got a bit older. I tell them that if they feel comfortable, they've read the label, they can see it's not a shared plate, things like that, then they can make that decision for them. So it has changed as they've got older.
That's such a big impact, not only on their lives, but also yours and your mum's.
It is. I never knew how much allergy. So the risks are, the reactions are rare, but the risks are every day. And yeah, so I guess there is an element of anxiety around it, and learning to navigate that has been a big learning curve. First, even recognizing I had anxiety because you just think you're doing your risk management, you're going through all the what ifs, you're at a party or something and you spot everything that's an allergen or a risk, or that child eating the cake and then going in the paddle pool, or, you know, when they were younger, they'd touch everything, hands in mouths, licking. I even had an incident where someone kissed Billy and she blew up. So that part, you don't know until you go through it how many risks there are in the world, but you also don't want to keep them wrapped up at home either. So it's a balance. And some days, I guess, especially in a new environment, there'll be some times where I just would pull the plug and go, look, I'm not in that frame of mind to do that right now, because it takes a lot of energy, I guess, to keep advocating, being that allergy mum that is the voice for your children to keep them safe, you know, and also because they notice that they're different. And so there's that emotional element for them as well. And as a parent, that's the main support for them. Some days you just don't have that capacity to do it. And I used to feel guilty about it, but now I just accept that's part of being a human. I think anybody in that same position would, you know, just give themselves a bit of grace, like your name, and, you know, be okay. Some days you just can't do it.
With parents that are new to the allergy world or allergy life, would there be any recommendations from you about what places to take them and what places are probably more risky or less risky? Because you said, look, there's some days that I can and there's some days that I just would say no.
Yeah. I guess we ended up finding ourselves, we're lucky we don't have environmental allergens ourselves. So found myself at the beach a lot or going for a bushwalk with more than enough EpiPens. Just in case, those sorts of things. So being out in nature. So instead of going to a restaurant, say, I found that high risk. I remember a Mother's Day breakfast, we went and we walked into the restaurant. There was just so many eggs around that straight away my daughter started reacting just from the environment. So we sat outside, and then from there we changed what we did. So picnics, more outside activities than in a restaurant. And I guess, yeah, I just go on what the girls enjoy and we adapt it as best we can.
What are their favourite activities that they do enjoy that have lower risks for them with their food allergies? Yeah.
Yeah, going to the beach for a swim. We've just moved actually to a town that's not near an ocean, but it's near a river. So they've got some kayaks that they like doing. They like camping as well. Before the camping, obviously, I'm scouting out where the local hospitals are, the range and everything like that. But they love being outdoors. So anything outdoors, they're stoked to do.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is because you didn't have a lot of knowledge before your daughters had allergies to the point that they did have allergies, what has been the impact that you have felt?
Learning. I feel like I could become a scientist, not that I can verbalize lots of the words I've read, but I did a lot of research. I went into, I think, fix-it mode. I was trying to fix them, which, you know, sometimes there's just not a magic solution. Things take time and you learn things along the way and what they're comfortable with as well. So I guess my biggest learning curve is to listen to them and their body and their comfort level. And I read as much as I can and I learn from everybody who has a story. So that's why I really enjoy our support sessions with Allergy Life, because you learn from other people. The specialists, obviously, you get some information, but you don't always have contact with them. It's not there's so many people with allergies now, it's not always easy to get a face-to-face or an appointment. But I found that you can find information from a lot of different avenues, and in the back of my mind, I think I try and make it a holistic approach. So not only sort of medical or specialist intervention, but things like diet, their mental health, and those sorts of things. But it's taken me a while to get there, to a place of, I think I call it surrender or radical acceptance. And I'm letting them, my girls, lead the way as much as I can.
Has there been a moment that you've been proud of your girls for leading the way?
Yes. When they advocate for each other. And also when I've seen how empathetic they can be for somebody else. So not somebody with allergies as such, but somebody else with a challenge in their life. Yeah. And I don't think they would have had that same empathy if they hadn't gone through this themselves.
If there was someone on the start of the allergy journey, what would be the recommendation that you would give them?
To be kind to yourself. I think we take on all this guilt and think that we could have stopped our kids from getting an allergy, perhaps. So I think I spent a lot of energy trying to find the blame or the fault in what I did. So I would say take that away, because there's no real reason. There's lots of theories, but there's no specific, this is it. And I would just focus on each little bit and not try and get overwhelmed. The other thing I would say is, I know it's challenging, but try not to compare what could have been or what you expected being a parent might look like. So there were times I might see at the beach someone having an ice cream with their children, and I'd go, oh, we can't do that. But I know we have a safe alternative at home, and while we're at the beach, we did something else fun. So I just that reframe and good luck. Know that each journey is unique, and there's no right or wrong answers. It's just what works for you and your children.
That's a lovely sentiment.
Mm.
You have also created a book as well. Would you like to touch on a little bit about the book that you created?
My little mate, Pete the Peanut. So there was a mum at school, a different school we went to. Her daughter had some nut allergies, mainly to tree nuts, but she was talking to me and she goes, there's just nothing out there that has pictures that are real. And I went, you know what, that's funny, because I've been showing my daughters pictures of peanuts and eggs in all their forms and those sorts of things. And that's where the idea came from. And it took me a while to get it all together, finding the right photos, because we wanted it to look real. And the emotions that come with that is quite interesting. So there'll be some days I'm like, I can't look at that. So, but then once that was out, I found it to be a vehicle for a lot of discussions. It brought a lot of people to me as well. So, you just speak to someone and they go, I can help you with that. Or once you're getting feedback, you learn a bit more input and where people are at their journeys. I spoke to a few scientists as well, so learn about their studies, which was interesting, and it wouldn't have happened without that book.
Can you tell me a little bit about the structure of the book? So what it actually entails?
Okay, so basically it's about teaching. It's aimed at children, but anyone can learn information from it. It's maybe not something that you sit down and read all at once. It's more like a resource, not a storybook. But I did try and bring in some fun. So there's little hidden Pete the Peanuts around. But basically it was, this is what a peanut looks like. This is how it grows in the ground. These are the products it shows up in. This is how you can keep yourself safe. This is what might happen if you are allergic and what you can do to help someone that is having an allergic reaction. And then what happens after.
Why did you create the book to begin with?
For my kids and the lady also at school. So it was mainly for those kids. And then other people said that would be helpful for me, and that's when I expanded it to actually get input and feedback from a few different avenues, and it improved. So even though it's quite confronting, and I know it's not for everybody, the real life pictures, for those people that are into that, then it helps them communicate with their child.
Has there been a comment or a milestone that you've been proud of with the book?
Yes, there was, I actually random encounter at a library. This little boy was taking the book out, and I said, "Oh, what made you pick that book?" And he goes, "My friend has allergies and I want to learn some more." So I felt really, really good about that. It had rippled out, and he didn't have allergies himself, but he was doing it for a friend, and I just was really proud of him.
It's really touching.
Yeah.
As a parent of children with allergies, how important is allergy representation in books?
I think books are a great vehicle for communicating information, no matter what the topic. So for having allergies in there as well, it helps children that do have allergies not feel so alone. There's other people out there that have it, enough to make a book about it. And also, the way things are written, I'm so happy to see a lot of allergy books coming out, because everyone has a different voice and it all resonates with people differently. So that's what I love, as many books out there as you can on a topic, and it just hits people differently. So I think it's really important to have that thing out there. Actually, just aside from allergies, there's a lot of disability books about chronic illness or health or disabilities, and I just think all of it helps our kids and our families and everybody understand a little bit more about other people's lives.
Is there anything from you that we can expect in the future?
I've been working on another book, so Peg the Egg. It's taken a little bit longer than I expected. Just we're in the midst of moving and adjusting to a new way of living. That's why I'm outside. So she's on the way. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly the time frame. I'm hoping early next year.
Where can we find out more or read Pete the Peanut?
Yeah, so it's free to download from my website on amymarley.com. You can also purchase hard copies from there, or on Amazon. There's some beautiful reviews I've got on a site called 𝘭𝘭𝘵, or you can actually email me as well. My details are on my website. I'm happy to chat about it at any time.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the allergy community or allergy parents?
Just thank you all for showing up and doing what you do for your children and other people living with allergies. It's a really supportive community.
Thank you so much for talking allergies and for sharing your story with your daughters and Pete the Peanut. It's a great resource.
Thanks for having me, Grace. Really lovely.